Elimination Live. Big Tiz.
And I'm Big O.
Guys, all I can do is shake my head. Another dramatic loss for the Steelers. Actually, the game ended in a weird fashion, but as always, the Steelers come out at the short end of the stick. Big O.
Yeah, exciting for some, exciting not for us. It was a great play. The Steelers never give up attitude. That kind of helped a little bit, but folks, you all know what we're talking about. It's the Music City Miracle kind of imitation, but it was the meltdown in Pittsburgh where we did score a touchdown. Brown was not out of bounds. I don't know how they can tell by all the angles that I looked at, by the actual play on the field, the time that it was happening. I do not understand or how that official from the end zone,
right, exactly,
can see where his toe, nail, shoestring, whatever, touched the line in the snow, the white line in the.
Well, that goes to the play with how the Steelers have played this year. The Steelers always come up on the short end of the stick, not getting calls, and now you got referees making calls that are way down the field before because I feel myself that actually if they would have ruled it a touchdown, I feel they would have had a kind of a rough time trying to overturn it. Oh,
absolutely. And like we all say every show, not every show, but mainly, that we shouldn't let this come down to the referee deciding a game, even though that's how it's been half the season this year. But we should be in a situation where we're winning and holding off the other team, and we shouldn't get into the situation. However, sometimes it happens.
Right.
But, hell, how about a little help here?
Exactly.
It just once in a while tosses a bone. It doesn't hurt. But I just can't see. We could talk about this till we're blue in the face. But like you said, Big Tiz, call it a touchdown on the field, then review it.
Right.
But since it was called out of bounds during the play, it's unreviewable. So that's it. Game's over. Go home.
Yeah.
And now you're in the stands. You don't know what's going on. You think you scored a touchdown. Fans are going crazy because they don't have the knowledge that we do by watching the game on TV. The sportscasters, everybody in the stadium thinks we scored a touchdown, we win this game. And then big letdown, the big meltdown.
Exactly. Well, the score in the game, it was 34-28 game with the Dolphins coming out on top, but Steelers had a lot of lapses in this game on the defensive side of the ball, which hurt heavily. And we could talk about it till we blew in the face, but like you said, and we said it many episodes before, you got to play 60 minutes of football, and that's what it came down to, and we didn't do that. So we came out on the short end of the stick. But with that loss, it leaves the Steelers at 5-8, and with a very, 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 very light pulse.
Yeah.
Trying to get into the playoffs. And when I say light pulse, I mean sporadic.
Oh, absolutely. Life support. We're still plugged in. I'm not pulling the plug. I know, Big Tiz, you're not going to pull the plug. We do not have a DNR, which means do not resuscitate order. So we're going to keep this team alive on the machine until we get the final word that brain is no longer functioning.
There you go.
Which is the team. So then you got to pull the plug and you just got to do whatever you got to do afterwards. And so far we had a little help even with our loss.
Right.
A bunch of teams that that's all scrambled up there and like a traffic on the highway coming home bumper to bumper. That all the teams are mixed up there in the middle. The Jets, the Ravens, and the Dolphins. Now the Jets are 6-7, the Ravens are 7-6, and now the Dolphins are 7-6. What kills me is the Jets have a better chance of making the playoffs than we do right now. It's sick to my stomach. But Big Tiz, the teams that were close, that lost, the Raiders, the Browns, the Titans, the Bills. The Bills 4-9, Raiders 4-9, Browns 4-9, but the Titans are tied with us 5-8, and they hold the tiebreaker to that.
Right,
so
because they beat us. Yep.
But we're really not officially out as of yet.
Right. We still even have chances with the Jets. Coming in, we beat them before, so if they lose their final 2 or 3 games, there's a possibility that, that we'll jump ahead of them as well. But, we still have the Ravens and the Dolphins to worry about.
I think that division with the Dolphins, the Jets, the Patriots, and the Bills, I think it's going to be tough for the Dolphins. They have to play the Patriots and the Bills. The Bills are looking, they're out. The Bills are down and out. I just got to call it like it is.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? There's always that spoiler role.
Right.
Playing for pride. at
So
least.
if you've never been a Bills fan before, you better be a Bills fan now.
Oh, absolutely, because a Bills fan, and we don't want to say necessarily a Jets fan. You can be a Patriots fan because the Patriots are pretty much in the playoffs right now.
Right.
Division winners. But we have to hope, and there's a lot of hoping here. But do not give up hope.
Right.
Because there's still a chance that we can make it into playoffs. Not the way we wanted to. We'd rather go in head first, but if we have to back in, at least we're in. And then we'll worry about our play once we get into the playoffs. It doesn't matter who we're going to play, but we said like last show and the show before that and blah, 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 that we have to focus at the game in hand. We focus on the next game we play, which is the Bengals. They come to town Sunday, 8:30 game, Sunday night.
Right.
We need to focus on that game. That's it right there. And then we'll worry about the other teams, who's got to lose, who has to win. We'll all worry about that. But for right now, we have to focus on what we have to do to beat these Bengals Sunday.
Right. And like you said, we got other big games looming. We have to travel to Green Bay, which by then they should have Aaron Rodgers back for that game. And that's going to be a 4:30 game. And we do have our, a season finale where we're going to be playing the Cleveland Browns in Pittsburgh.
Right. What makes this the last 4 games of the season, really frustrating for me, Big Tiz, 3 out of 4 games are home games.
Right.
So that should help somewhat in enhancing our chances to make to the playoffs. But when you lose to the Dolphins at home, which should have been a win, because I really don't agree with this warm weather, playing cold weather. I really don't believe that, and I'll tell you why. Not because Miami came and beat us, because these guys are professionals.
Right.
They get paid millions and trillions of dollars to play in all kinds of weather. They've been playing since they were kids. So these guys have played in the snow before.
Yeah.
They played at high school. They played college level.
Well, realistically, you might have a few that haven't played in cold weather climate like that. But the majority of the team, you got guys coming from all over, Purdue, you name it, whatever,
Right.
Boston College. These guys, they know how the snow is.
Yeah,
especially linemen.
but don't get me wrong though. We should have a slight edge.
Oh yeah.
But not that big where, Dolphins come in town, we're going to win this game because they play in warm weather and generally we play in cold weather.
Right.
So it's not it at all. But it's really frustrating to have 3 home games and already you lost one of them.
Yeah.
And now you got to go on. You got Cincinnati coming to town, the division winners, or not? Yeah, the division. Let's say they won a division, okay. Mm-hmm. And then we have to go to Green Bay, and then we're hosting the Browns, the last game of the season. Which the Browns are no slouch, even though we took care of them earlier in the season. This is all about pride, Big Tiz.
Well, some of the things I did notice in this game, just to talk about it quickly, is the fact that the play calling during the game, Todd Haley, which is going to be a big thing on the offseason, which we're going to probably discuss. But the thing about it is that I feel like the Steelers kind of run better when they do that hurry-up offense, or that, the 2-minute type offense with Ben calling his own plays.
Right.
And Ben is very frustrated with the play calling right now of Todd Haley.
And I can understand. We talked about this before when we discussed the potential rift between Haley and Roethlisberger. It's just when you're doing something for so long and then you have somebody, it's difficult. We talked about that earlier. But now I'm starting to see the light. I've always been a proponent for Todd Haley. Give him a chance. Let him try and get the system. But of late, the erratic offensive play calling, it's mind-blowing. And you folks at home, you could probably understand, because on Facebook, I've put out a couple things how you feel that what should happen with Haley or whatnot, and it's not you're not bashing Haley. We're not bashing Haley.
Right.
It's just we don't understand his play calling, his concept. Now, if we can get him on the show, or if he can call, or somehow, he really doesn't have to explain anything because that's his job and he's paid to do what he's supposed to do.
Right.
But not to be disrespectful to Todd Haley, but I'm sure the fans and myself, and I know you, Big Tiz, would like to know his reasoning for when you're running the ball effectively. I mean, and then you take him out. I thought that Le'Veon Bell was hurt. I thought I missed something, that he was on the sidelines, and you could tell they showed him a couple times that he looked very frustrated. He wanted to get back in there and run the ball, and we stopped, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, on a day like that where the weather isn't to the best, I mean, as you can see, a lot of the plays that kind of made up some good-sized yardage where either the quarterback scrambling out of pocket or the running backs, getting into the holes. Because all you got to do is make a couple moves, and the defender's trying to keep his feet.
Yeah, because the weather conditions were not that. Were a lot better than Philadelphia, and that was they were trudging through the snow. But anyway, let's talk about the Steelers here. And not only that, I mean, at the end of the game, I'm gonna jump from the beginning to the end, and then we'll talk about the middle later. 2 minutes, a little over 2 minutes left to go in the game. 2:43. We have the ball. Granted, we're only down by 3 points. Our 10-yard line. We have 2 timeouts. Plus a 2-minute warning.
Right.
Okay, so in effect, we have like 3 timeouts. Plenty of time to march down the field to either kick a field goal and tie it or potentially score a touchdown lead. With that in hand, why? Why would you throw the ball 3 times? Somebody's got to explain that to me. You have to. There's no reasoning for it. When you have the running backs that we have, Dwyer and Le'Veon, if you can't hand the ball off to Le'Veon, you could always throw the ball to him.
Well, you know what? To be honest, I think in that situation they kind of got themselves in trouble when they didn't complete the first down pass, and then by not completing the first down pass, you go to second down, and then you say, you know what? Maybe we can get like a 4 or 5 yard completion to shorten it up. But then when you don't complete that, you almost force yourself to have to throw.
Yeah, but me personally, I would have ran the ball. Now, if you come up short on the run, usually you start off with a good run, maybe 4 to 5 yards. Now you're 2nd and 5.
Right.
Now, if that falls, obviously you have to pass on a second down.
I agree.
You have to. Then you go with, like you said, with the short pass to try and make up. Now you're talking, if that works, you're talking 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. Very makeable.
Right.
Very makeable. Our only problem is 3rd and 1 or less. You get like 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, we have a better chance. The statistics have shown that we get more first downs when you get 3rd and long than 3rd and 1.
Isn't that something?
That's crazy.
True. Very good pickup too. That is true.
But I just, with the timeouts and over 2 minutes, let's go back to the Super Bowl where that last drive, we had what? A minute and a half left to go in the game. I don't believe any timeouts.
Right.
We marched down the field and we scored a touchdown. I mean, different scenarios, different weather conditions, but it's just, and even in that game, if you remember correctly, we were going backwards instead of forwards. A couple holding penalties, just.
Yeah.
It's a story. It's a story of our lives here, Steeler Nation. I mean, take 1 step forward, 3 steps back. It's just.
But you know what, fans? Everybody goes through it. Every team goes through it. So you have to stick in and stay strong and beat and support the Steelers. Because if you're a true fan, you're gonna be there. You're gonna be there for life. You're gonna be there through the good times and the bad times. Right now, we're going through those bad times.
But
you know what? Eventually, we will recover. But you know what, guys? Hey, we're gonna head out to our first commercial here on Steeler Nation Live. When we come back, we're gonna talk about things that went right and things that went wrong in this game.
Oh, it's gonna be a long segment.
Yep. Next up on Steeler Nation Live. From our studios out in Rochester, New York, we head out west to Southern California where the palm trees are swaying as we check out Rude Dog Reyes as he does his thing out there for Steeler Nation Live. Rudy, what's going on out there in the West Coast for Steeler Nation Live?
Good afternoon, Big Kids, Big O. This is Rude Dog Reyes. To be honest with you, this season has been a complete debacle. You start 0-4, you cannot expect to do the things that you need to do to get on the ball, to start from the word go on the first snap of the first game after preseason, which in fact you go 0-4. Steeler Nation, this is by far, other than last season going 8-8, this is relatively the same exact season we had last year. There are some differences, there are some highlights, but overall, as you know, as well as I know, this is a complete debacle. 5-8 is not exactly what I'd call any playoff contender, and to say the least, I really don't think that we'll be in the postseason. And if we do, we'll be one and done, because clearly we have not learned from last year's mistakes going 8-8. And as a matter of fact, even the worst season this year. So with that being said, Big Kids, Big O, this is just a complete disarray in the highest of ways. I am calling Todd Haley out and getting him on the ball for the remainder of the games, and then discuss his contract at the end of the year. As far as Nick LeBeau is concerned, you need to rewrite the book, Nick LeBeau. I love you, you're a great defensive mind, but you have to rewrite the book. It's not going to work anyway as it has been. As a matter of fact, it's not going anywhere at all whatsoever. Tomlin, to be honest with you, you really need to step it up. Sideline antics have completely dismembered the Steelers' capability in the rest of the NFL to be looked at as a relative contender in the NFL as far as playoffs are concerned, or as far as Steeler Nation is concerned. I mean, clearly there has to be a fine line in your discussion of pulling sideline antics that would be expected for maybe any other team in the NFL. But Big Kids, Big L, Steeler Nation, this is not acceptable. We got to get this going, and we'll talk next game. I have one word, and you know what that is. That's Pittsburgh. Let's go.
Uniform Express, located on 1408 Buffalo Road, Rochester, New York, for your police, fire, or EMS supplies. One of Rochester's top and finest suppliers of shirts, pants, shoes, boots, and accessories for your professional uniform needs. Uniform Express also does embroidery and screen print for team uniforms, jerseys, and corporations. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can also go to their website at www.uniformexpress.com or call Brian at 585-529-4245. That's 585-529-4245. And let Brian know you heard his ad on our show, Steeler Nation Live. Welcome back to Steeler Nation Live. I'm Big O.
I'm Big Tiz.
And this is the part of the show where we go over things. What went right and what went wrong. Lately it's been what was wrong. But we're gonna start, Big Tiz. We always, our pet peeve, playing catch up.
Right.
We started out pretty strong with the running game. We had a lead, 7-0. And we saw how quickly that dissipated.
Right, before you know it was 17-7.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and in bad weather conditions. So that was kind of,
Yeah, bad weather at home to a warm
weather team.
It's,
Yeah. Well, but the Steelers, they did fight back early enough, and they took that lead with Palomalo getting a huge interception, taking it around the right side on the field, and
slow down, champ. Slow down, champ. We got to go over the stuff that went wrong first.
Okay.
We don't want to ruin the things that went right, which were so few.
Yes.
So
I had to get to that quick.
All right. Yeah, but more to follow, folks. But special teams, again, letting us down again. Special teams. The only good thing that happened on special teams, I don't know if I got this on right, what went right, but actually it really didn't, that Swisham caused a fumble. But it went out of bounds. I don't know if he just threw his body at the runner and his helmet hit the ball, knocked it out. But getting back to the bad stuff, a blocked punt at home.
Huge.
Huge. You can't do that. I mean, thank goodness that nothing came of it because it was late in the second quarter. But, I mean, let's see, what else in penalties?
Penalties, 9 for 63. And they were coming at bad times. Actually,
Usually
even
that's
the
when
final
it happens.
drive, the penalties, we started having penalties in that final drive, which took us all the way down to a 10-yard line.
Yeah, it was ugly. The penalties, everything's starting to fall apart, and you really can't, focus too much on this makeshift offensive line because they did pretty good. That's something we were talking about, and things went right. But I mean, the holding penalties, the false starts. I mean, you gotta keep that in check, and those things are not come back to haunt you or hurt you. They hurt you right now.
Right.
This stage of the game where it's not like the Super Bowl team we talked about earlier that came back after all those penalties and the final drive scored a touchdown to beat the Cardinals. But I mean, we can't afford to be making these mistakes, continuously making these mistakes, and it's not like Tomlin could switch them in, switch them out because we have nobody. We're depleted.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it too is that the Steelers couldn't get off the field on third downs, which they were giving up third downs like 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. I mean, they just couldn't stop it. I mean, you had guys running out there wide open on 3rd and 5s, and I'm like, come on, I don't understand this.
And what I couldn't understand is the Dolphins pretty much ran that read option.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, Jarvis Jones, you just came out of college, and that's what they pretty much run down there in the SEC. is that read option stuff.
Correct.
You cannot take that bite. If you're going to hit the quarterback,
Right.
okay? Because by hitting the quarterback, whether he has the ball or not, you're going to get help on the outside. Now, if you take the running back who might get the ball from, you're taking yourself out, which is leaving the middle open for Tannehill or any quarterback to run up the middle, which he did. One carry, he had 50-something yards. I mean, read option, folks. It's not rocket science. You take the quarterback. You have your assignment. You're the linebacker. Let him pitch it to the running back. You gotta stuff it inside. You have to hit the quarterback. And it's a free shot because when he's running with the ball, he's now running back. So you could lay him out. Okay? And he'll think twice about doing that read option next time he sees Jarvis Jones 95 all over his face. But that didn't happen. Jarvis Jones hit the running back, not once, but twice, a couple times, and that left Tannehill open daylight all day. And when you get your cornerback making tackles 50 yards down the field, it's not good, Tiz.
Nope.
Not good. Not good at all.
Well, some of the other things that one of the things that the offense and the defense, they're never gelling on the same page. This has been a story thing for the whole season for the Steelers. You had maybe a game here or a game there where they actually did play in unison, but if the offense is having an explosive day, you go back to the Minnesota game when they were putting up points, or some of the other games in New England where the offense started putting up points, the defense just stops playing.
Yeah.
And then if the defense is playing, then the offense isn't doing anything.
Right.
It's like, what do you do?
60 minutes, gentlemen. 60 minutes. You play to win the game.
Right, I agree.
And you can't rely on some other guy. You have to pull your own weight. You have to get out there and you have to do your job. And it all goes back to what Tomlin said earlier. We don't need any special potions or powers or magic. You do what you're supposed to do, be it where you're supposed to be, and you execute the way you're supposed to execute. You'll make the play, and we won't be talking about this.
Exactly.
When we win, our wrong category is small. We lose, it's big.
Yeah.
It's big. And it's the same things over and over again.
Well, one of the other things was, Antonio Brown running out of bounds, which I couldn't understand because he was in a position realistically to kind of have free open field, wide open, and he, maybe he lost, where he was at, or I don't know.
It's a possibility. It's last play of the game. Your adrenaline's pumping. You just want to get to the end zone. You're trying to avoid being tackled. You don't want that guy. You take a sidestep. But I just, like we talked about earlier in the show, that we're the referee who called it. I can't understand how he could even see that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, it
just goes to the many things that are happening with the Steelers this year. So, it just falls right in line with everything else. And one of the other things is the Steelers, like you said earlier, the run was working at one point in the game, and they just stopped.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't understand because the Dolphins didn't stop. They kept trying to come with the run, and then they finally popped one.
Yeah, with the read option.
Right.
Now, Ben was interviewed in the locker room after the game, and one of the reporters asked him about why did the Steelers stop using the run, and I don't know how he could take this. I mean, from what Ben's response was, don't ask me, ask the coach, he's right over there. I mean, is he passing the buck? Is he keeping, a tight lip? He wants to speak, doesn't want to say the wrong thing. I don't know. Did he throw him under the bus, or would I think I would have said the same thing. Go ask him. Yeah. I take the calls from him, so you go ask him.
Yeah. And that's a simple, honest answer. I mean, go ask him. I mean, he's the offensive coordinator. We run whatever he asks to come in.
That's right.
So it was the best answer you could give.
Yeah. So I don't think at all that he was trying to throw him under the bus or being disrespectful. I think maybe he could have, alliterated a little bit better or clearly than what, because you can only. Ben can only, make assumptions.
Right.
Why, this, that. So here's the coach. Why don't you ask him? Good response, Ben.
Well, one of the other things, too, in the game was there were too many drop passes. I mean, guys had their hands on the ball, and they just dropped it. San Antonio. He dropped some in New York as well, the Jets. But Antonio Brown and Sanders both had drops in the game.
Heath Miller had a couple.
I mean, these guys, you gotta hold on to the ball, and these are the big difference between winning games and losing games.
Yeah, I'm an advocate for Heath Miller. I love this guy. I have one of my many jerseys, a Heath Miller jersey. But is it me, Big Tiz, or fans at home? Do you get scared after he catches the ball and runs down the field?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you said that, and I feel that sometimes too. I'm like, okay, is he gonna fumble, or is, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Been with him as of late, but he just doesn't seem.
He just doesn't. He gets the ball and he runs down, and as soon as somebody gets near him, I'm praying that he falls down, because there's too many times where he's been tackled, not hit, but tackled, and loses the ball, and it's just unfortunate because that's the way our season has been going. So I mean, okay, I'm glad it's not just me; it's you and probably the fans at home as well, getting nervous when Heath Miller runs down the field with the ball. What about tackling?
Tackling at times was atrocious.
Unbelievable.
Especially when Clay, number 42.
Who?
Who? Exactly. For the Miami Dolphins.
Well, we know who he is now.
Pass. Yeah, we all do now. 98 yards receiving in that game. This guy, for some ungodly reason, was scorching our secondary.
Wide open.
Yeah.
Wide open.
So that was just bad defense. Either the defense didn't know where they were supposed to be. It almost reminds me of the New England game in spurts, to where the secondary has no idea who they're supposed to be covering.
No. And for Troy Polamalu to miss a tackle like he did, that's a go-ahead touchdown right there. We hold them, they kick a field goal, different ball game.
Right.
But Cortez Allen and Polamalu had this guy wrapped up. Couldn't bring him down. It just goes to show you that's the way our season is.
Yeah. And some of the other things that went wrong for us in this game was the fact of, the Steelers never actually getting any type of calls that go our way.
Yeah.
There were certain instances where I've seen there was head-to-head contact on certain tackles on the quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger. Granted, he was out of the pocket, going towards the sideline, but it was helmet-to-helmet contact.
Oh.
No call. There were pass interference calls I've seen that never happened. No calls. But you know what? You have to play through them. But sometimes a little help will be good once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about earlier in the show, we talked about on all the other shows, we really shouldn't have to rely on the referees to win a game for us or lose a game for us.
Right.
That we should be up enough that we don't have to rely on that. But during the game, that we always do seem to get screwed on a bunch of calls.
Yep.
Both ways, offense and defense. And well, you just gotta play with it. Like Tomlin says, there's no style points. This is true. But you know what? Once in a while, tosses a bone. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And
the Steelers just have to stop picking up silly fouls late in games that put us in terrible positions on the field.
But I got to tell you though, watching our third center for the year, Cody Wallace.
Right.
We had Pouncey, we had Velasco, who came in, did an admirable job, fantastic job. He goes down for the year with Achilles, and then we get this Cody Wallace. And I got to tell you, Big Tiz, enough for enough, watching this kid play, he's got a lot of spunk.
Right.
He's got quick feet, but a lot of plays I saw a lot of holding that wasn't called. But it can go either way. But it just seems that they let those plays go. But when we do something good, like third and forever, and we get the first down, and then we got a holding penalty.
Exactly.
But not to make excuses for this makeshift O-line. Third center for the year. It's kind of hard to do anything. But you know what, Big Tiz? Some things did go right.
Hey, it's good to hear.
I'm just still looking for them. They had the people clear the field off pretty good. The cameramen, they were dressed nice and warm. They gave them some good gear. We scored 20-something points, 28 points.
That was good.
But like I just want to reiterate about this offensive line. I mean, we've had different guys in and out hurt. The Castro, he's playing hurt. Mike Adams is in. We are working on our third center of the year. I mean, to give up only 3 sacks, Sunday against the Dolphins, and have the running game established, that we did have a running game until it was stopped. Not by the Dolphins.
Right.
By our coaching staff. That they showed a pretty good, uniformity and getting the blocking their assignments and doing what they had to do. So it's a stretch, I know, but we're trying to find needle in a haystack. Snow, perfect game.
Yeah,
perfect game.
This is actually still a weather type game, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what forces you to run the ball.
Right, and the Steelers are historically a good bad weather team.
Oh yeah.
But that was probably back then when we had a run game.
We're starting to have a run game. I can't remember growing up and following Steelers, with Rocky Blair, Franco Harris, Merrill Hodge, and all those guys, Sidney Thornton, never had an O-line problem like we did. Granted, Mike Webster was the center, and I don't believe I can ever recall our O-line ever having any injuries, specific injuries like we've been having lately.
Right.
And that does something to your offensive, your running game. However, these are all professionals. They should be able to fill in and do their job, and block and know your assignments. But Cameron Hayward, this guy was an animal.
Yeah, this guy he's starting to emerge on that front. So, like I said, that's good things I like to see. Like this guy is starting to emerge, and we need guys like that. They're starting to emerge, and I believe, there are a lot of other guys up front that will start to come out and start to get better as the years go on. So
yeah, he's starting.
We have some things to look forward to.
Yeah, and even the old timers like Lamar Woodley, he was pretty much non-existent Sunday.
Right.
But he was out there. Maybe we didn't hear anything because he was doing his job.
Right.
And the big thing was that the defense, believe it or not, held Wallace and Hartline in check. And we're not going to give away Wallace's stats, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Nah, he didn't do much.
Yeah, even for our, Willie Gay and Ike Taylor, who are having a miserable second half of the season, kept them in check. And we'll get back to later on that during the stats and gone but not forgotten. So
yeah, let's let you guys hear some of the stats that came from that game with the Steelers and the Dolphins. And to be a messy game, there was some decent yardage put up, on certain areas of the game. The run game for Miami wasn't too bad, but the run game for us wasn't too bad. And that happens when you get these cold weather games and you get the defense having to basically trying to keep their feet up under them to try to tackle the guy.
Right, and Thomas, the running back for the Dolphins, he had one run that was 55 yards. He had a total of 105 yards for the day, but you take that one run away, you're talking less than 60 yards.
Right.
And same thing with Tannehill. He had what did he have? He had 2 carries for 56 yards. One was that 50-yarder, and another one was for 6 yards. So we pretty much kept the Dolphins in check, running the ball and passing the ball. So, but we did pretty good on our side, Big Tiz.
Yeah, the Steelers' total yardage was 412 yards to the Dolphins' 360 yards. So the Steelers were putting up yards. It's just that the fact that we didn't get the crucial yards, like you alluded to earlier, that we needed.
Yeah.
And penalties. The Steelers had 9 penalties for 63 yards. The Dolphins had 5 for 36 yards.
I just don't understand that either.
Well, and the turnovers, they also match up. The Steelers having 1 turnover and the Dolphins having 1 turnover, which I was really surprised with the way the weather was. I thought there would be more turnovers in this game. Right,
and our turnover happened pretty much early in the game. Mm-hmm. And I believe the Dolphins got a field goal off of that. Could be wrong, can't remember. We had Bell had 61 yards on the ground.
Right.
That's for the game. 40 of those came in the first quarter and a half. So could he have had over 100 yards? Absolutely during this game. Because the more he runs and the more time he touches the ball, the better he gets. That's what I've seen, Big Tiz. And that way he can set himself up in the backfield. So now his hands are nice and soft and warm to catch those passes out in the flats.
I agree.
And Brown, another stellar day, 5 catches, 137 yards and a touchdown.
Should have been 2. Should have
been 2. But it's just our defense. 3 sacks. We had the 1 pick 6 from Troy. Should have had 2 pick 6s that early in the game. That could have set the tone. But we can if all day. You know what I'm saying, folks? We can do ifs all day, and it just things aren't going. And their defense, 3 sacks, 1 fumble, that was Roethlisberger fumble, and the block punt, which they didn't score anything off of that as well.
Right.
It's just, I mean, you look at these stats and you think we held the ball for 31 minutes. It's pretty much kind of even time of possession because, you know, the weather, you're not rushing, the play is slowed down a little bit. So you're going to get the even amount. The score was almost, you know, even. But if you look at this, I mean, you got 412 yards. That's pretty good on offense. You shouldn't be losing games like that.
Right.
So,
well, like I said, Roethlisberger, decent day. Like we said, 21 for 39, 349 yards, 3 touchdowns. He put up some decent numbers. Tannehill, 20 for 33, 3 touchdowns himself, and then 1 pick to Palomalo.
right.
He had a decent game to come from Florida playing in this cold, bad weather. And the defense has a lot of work ahead of them, especially on this offseason.
That's right, Big Tiz.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Were there any major injuries that came out of this game, especially, you know, playing in that bad weather? You figure guys, there are always opportunities for guys to get hurt in this type of weather.
Well, Big Tiz, it's funny you should mention that. It's just usually this time of the show we do the injury report. Usually I'm, you know, reading off a whole list of injuries, but the only main injury that came out of that game was our playoff hopes. That was the biggest thing that got hurt. And, you know, besides your bumps, your bruises, your scrapes, there was no major injuries to report other than, you know, the guys that are already on the list that are doubtful. Kiesel, still, we don't know when he's coming back. Probably done for the rest of the year with that foot injury. You know, so that's pretty much about it, Big Tiz.
Hey, guys. Like we said, we gave you that big roundup there. You take all that information and soak it up. We'll be back after this commercial break. When we come back, we got a special guest for you here on Still Nation Live. We got Big Ken coming all the way live from Atlanta doing his Cowboy Nation. Unbelievable. But it'll be next up on Still Nation Live.
SteelerNationLive.net. It's live. Join Big O, Big T every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. New Year's only in-depth analysis of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Black and gold. Game review. Injury report. Injury releases. Who got fired? Fantasy stats. Fantasy football. Rumor. Anything and everything you want to know about the black and gold. SteelerNationLive.net.
It's McGinney's Sports Pub, located at 2246 East River Road. A perfect blend of Irish charm and Italian cuisine. From Calabria favorites like calamari to chicken French to the new signature dish like the Steel City Deli.
The Roethlisberger.
Everything is delicious and prepared fresh for you. They offer a full lineup of your favorite beverages with drink specials daily, and don't forget their $5 Monster Bomb.
Ice cold beer.
All day, every day. With 2 floors of seating and 20 high-def televisions, there's not a bad seat in the house to catch every minute of the NFL action.
Watch what you want.
McGinney's is the official home of the Rochester Steelers fan club.
Steelers!
So come on down to McGinney's Sports Pub, 2246 East River Road in Henrietta.
Hey, guys. Welcome back. Still a Nation Live. Big Tiz.
I'm Big O.
Hey, you know what, guys? We got the segment of the show. It's going to be something else, man. We got this guy, Big Ken, coming in live to you on the feed over here on the screen. He is from Atlanta, and he's a big Cowboy fan. He's actually a blog writer for Cowboy Nation Live, and this guy loves to talk garbage, so we're going to let him talk. Hey, Big Ken, I'm pretty sure you caught that game with the Steelers playing the Miami Dolphins.
Well, thanks for having me, Big Tiz and Big O. I did catch the Steelers game, and I thought that the Steelers, for the most part, I thought they played really well, but they lost it in the end. I thought for sure that they had the game won with the last play of the game until it came back that he stepped out. But I do need to say that I love you, you're my boy, but how in the world do the Steelers, who are accustomed to snow, lose to a team that is not accustomed to the snow from South Miami? I don't get it.
Big Ken, Big O here, Steeler Nation Live. My first question to you, sir. Do you think Todd Haley will return as the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers next year?
Todd Haley, I really can't say, but with the record you guys have, it doesn't look so good for him. But your games are close. The Steelers games, you had some close ones that you just lost in the last minute. But I really can't say for surely, but it doesn't look too good on the home front for him.
Next question for you, Big Ken, is with Pittsburgh Steelers pretty much out of the playoff scene, do you think this is going to be the last year that Troy Polamalu will be wearing a black and gold Steeler uniform?
Oh. Polamalu, huh. In my opinion, I think he's a Steeler for life, and I really admire the dude. I admire the pick six he got in this game that just passed, and I think he would stay with Pittsburgh for the most part. So.
Lastly, Big Ken, I want to ask you a quick one. Do you really think your beloved Cowboys will go all the way to the Super Bowl this year? They're in good position, but we here at Steeler Nation Live say no.
Well, in my heart, yeah, we going to the Super Bowl and we gonna win the darn thing. But in reality, I don't know. I think the Eagles, their last game is gonna be a battle that is just gonna, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But in my heart, I really believe that we can go and win this. But in reality, it's another story.
Big Ken, thanks a lot for checking us out and talking with us here on Steeler Nation Live. We do wish you guys the best of luck this year in your endeavors here with the Cowboys. Not too good of luck, but we hope you guys do well.
Well, I want to thank you, Big O and Big Tiz, for having me on the show. I watch your show every week, and I love the honesty and candor that you both provide in your correspondence. I'm wishing you all the best with Steeler Nation Live, and to that, take care of yourselves, guys.
All right, Big Ken, thank you for being on Steeler Nation Live and support our show to all your Cowboy fans. We appreciate that.
Heckle and Jekyll Sports Cards, Collectibles, and Video Games. Open 7 days a week here in Rochester, New York. Mike has all kinds of individual cards and packs. Baseball, football, basketball, hockey, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, just to name a few. Mike also has the widest variety of video games too, from Sega Genesis to Wii to PlayStation to Nintendo, Game Boy Color Advance, and so on. Mike has all the old school games you can't rent or buy anymore. Mike also has a great selection of autographed memorabilia, sports jerseys, hats, 8x10s signed by your professional athletes for you to buy. He also has video game, Yu-Gi-Oh, and poker tournaments, Beanie Babies, Bratz dolls, sports figures, and more. Mike runs the show 7 days a week. Call Mike, 585-889-9130. That's 585-889-9130. Folks, if you're not in Rochester and you're looking for that hard-to-buy memorabilia, call Mike or look him up on the web at heckjack@rochester.rr.com. Once again, folks, that's heckjack@rochester.rr.com. But if you are in Rochester, you can go down to Chile Avenue, that's 3240 in the Chile Paul Village.
Hey, Steeler Nation Live. We just want to thank Big Kenny down there from Atlanta. Unfortunately, he is a Cowboy fan. We all can't be perfect. We all can't be Steeler fans. But you know what, folks? We appreciate him coming on our show. And because we're on his show, we get the Steeler Nation word out to those sorry, almost said it, sorry, the donkey, the sorry donkey fans. They're in Dallas, and all three of them.
There you go.
And even Steeler hater Rod. That would be 4.
Exactly.
He has all his teeth, though.
But you know what, guys? Let's step into that part of the show where we find out about those 3 ex-Steelers. And we're going to start off today with Rashard Mendenhall.
Well, Rashard Mendenhall.
Big O, what are numbers on Rashard this weekend?
Well, let's see. It's 17 carries, 41 yards, but he did have a TD. Big Tiz, that brings his average up to 2.4 yards per carry.
Woo! Boy's trying to get the Heisman, huh?
I think so. The prosman.
Yeah, exactly.
The prosman, I guess. I don't know. What about our boy Wallace? Now, for those of you at home, I don't know if you're keeping score, you already know this, but Big Tiz, let the fans know if they were under a rock, if they missed a game. How did Mr. Wallace do?
2 catches, 19 scintillating yards.
Now, was he hurt?
No, full strength, brother.
Full strength the whole game.
All game.
Now, can you tell the fans out there who, like I said, didn't have the opportunity to watch the game because they were working or whatnot, what happened when Wallace's name was called, or if he touched the ball or the ball was thrown to him? What was the crowd's reaction, Big Tez? Boo! That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Now that brings us to the third and final player, James Harrison, linebacker, ex-Pittsburgh Steeler, MVP, Super Bowl MVP, Cincinnati Bengals. What are the stats on him, Big Tiz?
Goose eggs. He did not play.
And we're still trying to figure out, he's not listed as injured. I can't find any reports on James Harrison. I hope everything's okay. I don't know, did the Bengals release him and not say anything? Because finding information on James Harrison is almost obsolete.
Yeah, and it's getting that way. Like I said, guy was a great talent in Pittsburgh, and he played his time, and he did his time there and played effectively. So eventually, I believe he'll eventually come back. Like we said in another show, he'll come back and possibly retire in Pittsburgh. So that's what I see things leaning towards, especially with him having back issues and things like that.
Right. And because of that, we're talking about, we let Harrison go last because
we wanted to jump straight into
the preview.
Our upcoming game with the Bengals.
That's right. This Sunday, December 15th at Heinz Field, 8:30 game. We know what the weather's going to be because of Big O and his future Steeler weather forecast. Predicted 60% chance of precipitation, which means, Big Tiz? Snow. Lots of it. It's going to be cold. The highs are going to be 38. Lows are going to be 30 that day. And you know what? 8:30 game, 30 is going to be. It's going to be a lot colder than 30 degrees, folks.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a big game for the Steelers. The Bengals are coming in 9-4. These guys are the big dogs right now in the AFC North. So right now they're coming in with a big chip on their shoulders into Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and we all remember the days of Hushman Zada, whatever his name is, coming in the cleats with the terrible towel and the total disrespect for the Steelers. That still plays in the back of my mind, Big Tiz. And another thing that plays in the back of my mind was the butt whooping we took.
Yeah.
On the hands of the Bengals earlier in September when we lost 20-10, and that was before Le'Veon Bell, when Le'Veon Bell was out.
Right.
So we had a bunch of Steelers that were out, and this is going to be a different game. But you know what? Let's get back to the Bengals against the Colts. Andrew Luck had a super day. If you had him for fantasy, I think he had 51 fantasy points. But you know what? They still lost.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Dalton had a pretty good game that game. 24-35 for 275 yards, 3 TDs, and the big thing about that, Big Tiz, no interceptions.
Right.
And that's how you win games. The Colts came back, however, but if you don't turn the ball off, you don't give the team the other chance, you're going to come out winning, and that's what the Bengals did. It wasn't a superior defeat. It's just that when everything's clicking good, and you don't turn the ball over, and you're scoring touchdowns, and the defense shows up with the offense. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
You usually come out on top.
Well, they also had Bernard, number 25. This guy.
Giovanni, hey, how you doing, huh?
You gotta love him. Nice little runner. He catches the little dump off passes. He is a dangerous guy to deal with, and like I said, this is going to be a big coverage problem for the Steelers. As you can see, they have problems covering some of the backs coming on the backfield for Miami Dolphins.
And let's not forget about the law firm as well.
Yeah.
He's a tough cookie to crack too. So we're going to have our hands full, but like we said, different team that we're going to be playing. We lost 20-10, I believe it was, but this is a different scenario, different team, different weather, and our backs, this was early in the season, so our backs weren't up against the wall per se as they are now. So every game we have to win, we already lost one. So this is, plus we're playing for pride, Big Tiz.
Exactly.
Division pride.
And that's what it is. And Green, he had a big day. He had an okay day. I'm not going to say big day. He had an okay day. 6 receptions, 72 yards, 1 touchdown late in the game, actually. And, he's also another big threat that the Steelers have to worry about. And we had Ike Taylor. I don't know if he's being relegated to checking the other receivers and not being on the bigger receivers. I don't know what it is, because Mike Wallace was more or less checked by Cortez Allen the whole game.
Yeah, pretty much so. And then when Ike Taylor went down, they had Willie Gay come in for a play or two, excuse me, and he was covering receivers, or he was out there.
Right. So I don't know what the situation is going to be there, especially covering Green.
Right. And also, the Bengals pretty much controlled the game. They had the ball for almost 36 minutes. Now that's a lot. And not to mention, we already said that our running game, we had only 37 yards.
Right.
And that's not going to get you anywhere. And also, we were 3 for 12 on third down conversion. So you know what, Big Tiz? A lot of 3 and outs.
Right.
And that can't happen against the Bengals. We have to show these guys. And the one touchdown we did have was to Derek Moy. Right. We haven't heard his name or number called in the past 4 games. So
that kind of missed me, because that's the type of receiver that Pittsburgh needs to be down near the goal line, a taller receiver.
Absolutely. And, well, when you don't get by the goal line, Big Tiz, I don't think his services are needed. I'm just saying, folks. But when we get deep in the red zone, number 14 should be out there.
Right. I definitely agree. But in that first game as well, the Steelers had a couple of costly turnovers, which, made things not well for the Steelers. And at that time, the Steelers weren't getting turnovers.
That's true. That's the beginning of the season where we weren't creating anything. Sacks, tackles, interceptions, fumbles, nothing. So this is going to be a pretty good game if we're consistent on offense. And I think once we have a consistency in offense, I think the defense will fall right into that.
Right.
Special teams, I don't know.
Well, like I said, it all comes down to every game is so crucial now for the Steelers. I mean, right now we're still in it, but it's like I said, that pulse is fading. But the thing about it is, let's say per se, which I don't think will happen anyway, that the Cincinnati Bengals lost the rest of their games and they end up 9-7, and the Steelers beat them within that that span. They still would have that edge with that one game over us, but still. Right. The Steelers are trying to jockey to get in there. They got to win everything out. You have to do what you have to do to get into that position. And the Steelers haven't been doing that as of late.
Well, right now we're 2-2 in division. So if we beat the Bengals and we beat the Browns, we're looking pretty good. If we win the rest of our games and the Ravens kind of lose,
right?
We're not going to win a division, but we're going to have that hold over the Ravens.
Exactly.
Because we'll have the tie. We both won. Each team won a game.
Right.
But it goes by division record. Who has the better division record? And if we go 4-2 in division, we're pretty much right there in the playoffs.
Right.
But then we have to wait for other teams to lose, and it's just
it's like a big scenario.
Yeah, big scenario. So, right now, final thoughts, Big Tiz. We'll let you go into your final thoughts, and then on the show with my final thoughts.
So, guys, on this part of the show, like I said, when we talk about our final thoughts, I'm going to give you my whole synopsis of what I feel is going on this year with the Steelers. And a lot of the things that's going on with the Steelers is that, like I said before, and we said it in many shows before, it's 60 minutes. It's a 60-minute game, and you got to put it out all the way through to win a game. Because when you get huge lapses in the games, that's when in an NFL type environment where you can easily lose or go down in a game by 10, 14, 20 points in a game within a 10-minute span. And the Steelers have that thing to where they don't have continuity, where they're not playing well, they're not playing on successive downs on defense, they're not playing that way on offense. So there has to be some accountability, as Big O alluded to earlier, and shows that there's no accountability, no leadership. There's no execution. There's a lot of things that's not going on for the Steelers right now, and they have to get all that there. And they have to have it now. And the thing about it is, the Steelers have to play 60 minutes of football, no matter what. 60 minutes of hardcore football. That's all your fans ask for. You know, I know there are times when other teams have lapses in defense and lapses in offense to where they're not playing well, or they do play well. But the thing about the Steelers is they haven't been doing this all year. They haven't been playing 60 minutes of good, honest football, and that's what they need to win out. So the Steelers right now should be on your mind. Right now should be on the board. Every meeting is 6-0. 60 minutes of football. And if you give us 60 minutes of good football, Steelers, even if we go in or we don't go in, make your fans proud and make those fans that support you, like Big Tiz and Big O and other fans out there who watch this show and out there, let them know that you play hard down all the way down to the wire. I give the Steelers credit for what they did against the Miami Dolphins, trying to come back late in that game, but you can't put yourself in those positions, and that's where that 60-minute comes in. So they have to be huge with that, and they have to play 60 minutes for the game to be played out and for the Steelers to come out on top. So that's my feelings for the night. 60 minutes of football, and you guys can't be stopped, and you'll win this game, and you'll win the game after that. You have to win throughout, so that's what you have, 6-0. That's what everybody that should be looking at in the meeting. So that's me for the night, Big Tiz, and I'm going to hand it over to Big O, and he is fired up.
All right, folks. Here it is. Big Tiz, 100% right, and I'm not going to repeat what he said because usually that's what I do. I just reiterate what Big Tiz says because he's one of the smartest guys out there. He knows his Steeler football. He loves his black and gold. So when he talks, people should listen, just like that insurance kind of guy. But here's my take, and it's going to be on a topic that's been in the news for a while now, a week or so, and I'm talking about the Tomlin incident. Okay, folks, one more time, it's not going to kill you because you didn't hear my side yet. Okay, now the reason why Tomlin was fined $100,000 and we lost a draft pick because of the seriousness of this. Okay, now keep that in the back of your mind, and I'm going to explain this to you in further detail, and so you guys could decide at home about seriousness of penalties and calls. Okay, granted, Tomlin was in the wrong. We all understand that. It was an accident. It happened. Things happen. The rules state, and he was wrong. I'm not trying to defend that. Okay, he was wrong. Even though he wasn't penalized on the field, the NFL decided to review this and fine him and take a draft pick away. Now, I've said it before when this happened that the punishment does not fit the crime. And let me explain myself further. Okay, now just remember now, folks, putting your foot on the field, never touch the player, never interfere with the player, maybe hindered his field of motion, his direct line, whatever. Okay, I got that. Did not affect the outcome of the game. You can sit here all day long and say, well, if he would have bumped him, or if Tomlin was further on the field, or if they didn't get a field goal, or if he could have scored a touchdown. You can't do that in this game because you'll be here all night. But here's where I'm getting heated, folks. Okay, now you tell me what's more important. In the NFL, there's a bunch of people out there who like to do what they want to do. They don't care about the NFL. And here's just a couple players, folks. We'll start off with Ndamukong Suh for the Detroit Lions. Just give you a little brief history. We all remember the game against the Packers where he stopped and kicked a player who was on the ground defenseless. Cheap chop blocks, late dirty hits on quarterbacks, Matt Schaub, okay, Andy Dalton, Jay Cutler, just to name a few. He got fined, okay? That's it. Now this happens on a regular basis. Just got fined, all right? Now we're going to go to Deshaun Goldson, all right? Fined over 15 times for unnecessary roughness and helmet-to-helmet hits. Since 2010, he's been awarded the most penalties by any player in the NFL since 2010. Fines, okay? He still continues to do it. Bernard Pollard, continuous helmet-to-helmet hits, unnecessary roughness penalties, and he knocked out Houston's wide receiver Andre Johnson, knocked him out of the game, folks. All right? He got fined. Big deal, okay? And another player, Kareem Jackson. Once again, folks, you see the pattern I'm starting here? Continuous unnecessary roughness penalties, including helmet-to-helmet hits, knocked out of the game wide receiver Kendall Wright from the Tennessee Titans. Knocked them out of the game. Now, what I'm trying to get to you folks is the seriousness of these penalties as opposed to a coach putting a foot on the field and disrupting a play. All right, the seriousness of helmet to helmet, you can end somebody's career or their life. I know it sounds a little ridiculous, but when you have a player that's intentionally headhunting and told the NFL repeatedly, this is how I'm going to play, and find me, go ahead and find me, and they do, that's it. But a coach puts a foot on the field, fined $100,000, and takes away a draft pick from the team. Now, come on, folks. Let's look at this again. Helmet-to-helmet hits, unnecessary roughness penalties, fines, no draft picks taken from these teams. But you have a team where a coach puts his foot on the field, that's ridiculous. I know, folks. You're very smart because you're Steeler fans. You let me know. You Facebook me, email me, tell me I'm crazy. Tell me I'm out of my mind. But when you got a player that's going headhunting, defensive players been knocking players out of the game, getting fined, and continuously doing it, and that nothing happens to the team, that's ridiculous. And you have a coach who apologized, sincere, professional. He puts a foot on the field and they take away a draft pick from our team? Where's the sense in that, folks? You tell me. Somebody's got to tell me. Roger Goodell, I want you to email me. I want you to call the show. I want you to tell me, how does this punishment fit the crime when you have all these players doing what they're doing on the field right now and can possibly kill somebody? What? Tomlin possibly stopped a touchdown? Big deal. I'm Big O from Steeler Nation Live.
Ooh. Like I said, a lot he had to say, and the guy got a lot on his mind. So there you have it. Hey guys, another successful show here on Steeler Nation Live. Make sure you check us out on the website as well, www.steelernationlive.net. And also go to TalkShoe.com. Check us out there. You'll see our flag waving for Steeler Nation Live. Check us out. Go through some of the old audio shows.
Whew.
And not at least, make sure you stop down at McGinney's Pub.
Oh, boy.
Check out Sal there.
I'm heading their way. I need something cold to calm me down, Big Tiz.
Nice place. It's one of the Steeler headquarters here in Rochester, New York. You got to check us out. So again, from Big Tiz,
I'm Big O.
another Steeler Nation Live show in the books. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, I had to say it was a stunt, man. Cause it is a stunt, man. Steeler Nation, Big Tiz, Big O, Big Tiz, Big O. Steeler Nation, man. Yeah, Mr. Stunt, Big O. Yeah, I had to say it was a stunt, man. Cause it is a stunt, man. Big O, Big Tiz, yeah.